Independent artist releasing music or releasing music in general.
Junkie on the track.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dudes and dudettes, the sexy and the not so sexy, big children and little, it's been a long time that your man was rocking with you. I am the novelist, author, poet, Lamont Anthony Wright, aka Graffiti Bleu. The Adventures of a Naive Poet. Well, for those who stumble upon this channel, for those who have subscribed to this channel and like, man, I got a notification from Graffiti Bleu for this first time, been a while. Well, real quick, for the past year and a half, 2 years, I was in the dojo making this album with my brothers, with my men of extraordinary talent brothers, Champagne Ethos, coming soon. The link is in the description to find out all about this album, but we got business to talk about since I haven't blogged in quite some time. I mean, you know, built the channel up to 1,500 subscribers and just kind of stopped. Well, it was time for me to be an artist, you know, and podcasting and all the other things that I do take a lot of concentration. I can't just release trash out into the internet sphere. You follow what I'm saying? So I really wanted to give you that quality. So I had to go inside for a minute, and I was so in that MC pocket and making the music fucking dope that I didn't even know what to talk about, because my spirit, my talent, my efforts, my mind, my body, I was there, all right? And I needed to stay there, okay? So since the album is done, mixed, mastered, and prepared for release, uploaded to all the digital platforms you could name, I was thinking about doing an Adventures of a Naive Poet, because I haven't done one in a while. So just because I've been pretty much flying back and forth to New York and hitting the studio for the past 2 years, I was podcasting a bit, you know what I mean, when I was in the writing stage of writing the album. But when it came time to perform and get in my MC bag, you cannot be distracted. You follow what I'm saying? Because I got to be better than everyone else. You follow what I'm saying? So that shit takes focus. But speaking of focus, I really wanted to take this opportunity, since I'm still got the hip hop music aroma on my body. I wanted to talk about just releasing music, or making music. But let's say releasing music. Let's call this making music and releasing music. How about that? The Adventures of a Naive Poet, making music and releasing music. With the Adventures of a Naive Poet, we always have a naive notion. My first naive notion about making music was that as long as it sounded good in your head, that it was going to sound good. The finished product was going to sound good. Boy, was I naive. Which makes tonight's word, ladies and gentlemen, execution. Execution. If it sounds dope in your head and you have the lyrical chops or the musical chops to perform what you wrote or whatever, doesn't mean that it's going to translate once it's recorded. Execution. Your brain is the best artist that there is. Okay? You know what I mean? It's like singing in the shower. Sounds great in the shower. And till you go to the open mic, you might get hit by a tomato. My second naive notion about making music was that if most talented people feel, at least in their younger manifestation of their artistry, they feel, because they're so gifted, especially the truly gifted, they feel as if it is easier than it actually is. I'm not saying I'm so talented that I felt that way, but my ego was this big in the early days of me making music. I thought I could just go to the studio, put it down, and the shit was just gonna be fire. Like Dylon or some shit. There's three best rappers, Dylon, and Dot, right? So that's not the case. So I realized that I am a better MC, better poet, better lyricist, better novel writer, better podcast writer, better storyteller when I spend time doing that thing. As far as MCing goes, when I have a hot beat or a beat that I am inspired to write to, if I spend a couple days with it, let's say, you know them MCs, they'd be like, oh, I wrote that in 15 minutes and it just fire. I believe them, but this MC needs more time. I like to spend, I'm at my best when I spend at least 2 weeks with the beat. Just 2 weeks, just mumbling, freestyling to the beat, playing with the beat, dancing to the beat, feeling the rhythm of the beat, then deciding while I'm listening for 2 weeks to this beat, what am I going to say? How am I going to say it? What do I want to talk about? What is worth talking about? I've told a million gazillion stories. What story am I going to tell you that you haven't heard already? Did I tell that story already? Then I got to go through the Rolodex. And the last naive notion about making music, I naively believed that I should be loyal for loyalty's sake. What I mean by that is, let's say that you was born and raised with your producer friend from down the street. And he or she is a great producer and they make great beats, but for where you're at, they might not be making the music that fits where your spirit is at this particular time. Or there may be a better producer, better suited for this particular project that you can go with, okay? So for those artists out there, especially my lyrical assassins, don't be so naive that you feel that you have to be loyal for loyalty's sake. Yes, that's your homie. Yes, you grew up together. Yes, you came in the game together. But sometimes you gotta split up like Voltron. Do your separate missions and then come back together. It doesn't mean that you can't have some sort of allegiance to your partners or whatever. You follow what I'm saying? But some of us only got one chance at being dope, man. And if we put out something crazy trash, then even if we make something dope later on, people might not give you a listen because they remembered how you hurt their fucking ears back in 2014. You follow what I'm saying? So, but now we went from the the making music portion and now releasing music. Let's talk about that. Okay. What would be a good naive notion I had about releasing music? I've said this before. I thought that all of your friends that know that you have a gift, be it playing the saxophone, be it singing, be it dancing, whatever, my naive ass thought that your friends from the ground up would support you. You hear it all the time, especially in hip hop music. Oh, the neighborhood played his stuff so much and the neighborhood supported him so much that, you know, so-and-so from Brownsville, Brooklyn is the hottest thing freaking smoking. He's got a whole neighborhood behind him. It's been my experience, yes, me, my M.O.E.T brothers, we definitely had a lot of local support. You had a lot of people rooting for us, but in today's social media climate, a lot of cats might scroll past your shit. A lot of cats are your friend and they know you're good. They know you are dope, but they would scroll past you. And it's not even a disrespect that they would scroll past your album, your book, whatever. Let's keep it album because we're talking about music releases. They scroll past you. Maybe they're distracted. Maybe they're stalking some guy. Maybe they're stalking some chick. Maybe they're trolling somebody. Maybe they're just on social media to just nose around for a minute until they log off. Maybe they don't want to be seen. Maybe if they like your post, that would tell somebody else that they're on social media and not doing what they're supposed to be doing, or at least said what they were doing. Okay? So you can't even take it personal. I've said this before, I'll say it again. Your friends will not support you until strangers do. Those same friends that wouldn't do a double tap like on your Instagram avatar for your album, you mess around and be standing next to 50 Cent or Jay-Z or whomever, Drake, whatever, Kendrick Lamar, you standing next to them at the Grammys or whatever, and all of a sudden they like all of your pictures now. They call you. I didn't even know you had my number. Look at that. Look at that. Your friends won't support you until strangers do. The second naive notion that I have had as it pertains to releasing music is that I naively thought that dope is just dope. But what's dope to me, or what's dope to the creator, what's dope to the artist, what's dope to that team, that crew, that clique that made that music might not be dope to everybody else. Now, most of us, even the most arrogant of us, know when a song is our best effort, okay? When we're humble and we're calm and at peace and we're right with God and all of that stuff, most of us, as long as we're lined up, know that a body of work is like, damn, this is dope. I can't wait for people to hear it. But it does not mean that the music will connect. So I guess my naive notion would be that that not all music, even the dopest music, will connect. I don't care how dope it is. People might not necessarily receive it the way you want them to. Maybe they're not in that space to hear that particular music. Maybe you think this group is your audience, but really this group is your audience. You follow what I'm saying? Maybe the algorithm got you all kinds of effed up. Maybe the people you're paying, let's assume you're paying for marketing, which will bring me to my number 3. Let's say the people you're paying for marketing don't really know you like that or your music like that. Maybe the algorithms got you all freaking twisted. And the algorithm is advertising your music over here when really the grown folks would really appreciate your music better. Maybe you think you got grown folks music, but you're so damn hip. The youngins would rock, which would be more likely to stream your music. Maybe the whole United States doesn't rock with you, but you market your same album, songs, whatever, to the UK and you freaking blow up. And America doesn't appreciate you until you finish your freaking UK tour. That's a very likely scenario. They really rock with your boy in the UK. But that's neither here nor there. And last but not least, and to put a wrap on this particular podcast, the third naive notion, as far as it pertains to me, and as far as it pertains to releasing music, was that you can do this for pretty much free. I'm not saying you got to break the bank. I'm not saying your budget has to be $100,000. I'm not saying your budget has to be $50,000. But it's got to be something. You got to freaking pay to play, bro. I know a bunch of cats that would not necessarily make the investment in anything. And that's just not how the universe works. You follow what I'm saying? If you are not willing to spend money on yourself, it is very naive to think that karma would dictate that somebody now spends money towards you when you wouldn't spend that money on you. You follow what I'm saying? That's not how it works. The universe is a very literal thing. The universe doesn't get it wrong. Okay? So when we don't invest abundance into our project, I'm not saying you got to break the bank. You know what I mean? But when we don't invest in abundance, what are we telling the universe? We're telling the universe that we're cheap. We're telling the universe that not only are we cheap, but this body of work does not have value because I don't value this body of work. And you put that energy out into the freaking world and wonder why nobody is streaming your damn song. That's just how it works. You can believe me, you cannot believe me, you cannot rock with all of that spiritual mumbo jumbo. Doesn't change the facts. Doesn't change the facts. I was trying to animate and I didn't nail the GE, okay? Doesn't change the facts. Anyway, that's what it is. It's the end of this podcast. Hopefully I didn't take you too long. I guess that was around 20 minutes maybe. Anyway, I'm going to be podcasting a bit more now that my head is out of album mode. I'm going to be in performance, tour, and Poet and the Violin Part 2 mode pretty soon. Probably going to tear Brooklyn down. To know about the album that's going to be released, I am putting a link in the description. Everything is at gbleu.com. What's being released, when it's going to be released, and what platform it's going to be on. Out.